माधवा कुंजा बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे राधा जम सुंदर जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा प्रभु ब्रह्मांडे हरे एवं विष्णुपाद ब्रह्मंस प्रभुराज का चरा स्त्रोत्र शतशिष्य से भक्त वेदांत संस्कृत की जाए एवं विष्णुपाद ब्रह्मंस प्रभुराज का जरा स्त्रोत्र शतशिष्य भक्त सिद्धांत ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जाए अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जाए नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जाए प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनमय की जय। भक्त देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All the least to assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All the least to assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All the least to assemble devotees, Hare Krishna. All Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Gopal Jai. Vishnu Badaya Krishna Vishtai Bhutra Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswade Gauravani Pracharani Visesana Panchadestan. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, verse number 20 to 25. Today's verse. Let me share. This is not the one. This is not the one. Yeah, this one. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskutcha Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutirayit Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, verse number 20. त्रैविद्या मां सोमपा पूतपापा यज्ञैर्यस्त्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यम् आसाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान् त्रैविद्यमां सोमपा पूतपापा यज्ञैर्यस्त्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यम् आसाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्. Trividya, the knowers of the three Vedas, Mam, me, Somapa, drinkers of the Soma juice, Puta, purified, Papa, of sins, Ignai, with sacrifices, Istva, worshipping, Swagatim, passage to heaven, Prardayante, pray for, they, Punyam, pious, Asadhya, attaining, Sura Indra of Indra, Lokam, the world, Asnanti, enjoy, Divyan, celestial, Divi, in heaven, Deva Bhogan, the pleasures of the gods. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Jai. Those who study the Vedas and drink Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Let's repeat. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. Verse number 21. ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विसन्ति एवं त्रयीधर्मम् अनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकाम लभन्ते they tam that bhuktva having enjoyed sargalokam heaven visalam vast kshine being exhausted punye the results of their pious activities martyalokam to the mortal earth vishanti fall down evam thus trayi of the three vedas dharmam doctrines anuprapanna following gata agatam death and birth kama kama desiring sense enjoyment labante attain. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasures and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Please repeat. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Verse number 22, very important verse for devotees. Verse to remember. Ananyāscintayanto māṁ ye janā paripāsate तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् Ananya, having no other object. Chantayanta, concentrating. Mam, on me. Ye, those who, jana, persons, parivasate, properly worship. Tesham, of them. Nitya, always. Abhiyuktana, fixed in devotion. Yoga, requirements. Kshemam, protection. Mahami, carry. Aham, I. Translation by Prabhupada. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. To repeat. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Verse number 23. येऽपि अन्यदेवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विता ते अपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्ति अविधिपूर्वकम् येऽपि अन्यदेवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विता ते अपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्ति अविधिपूर्वकम् येऽपि अन्यदेवता भक्ता यन्ते श्रद्धयान्विता तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्ति अविधिपूर्वकम् ये those who api also anya of other devata gods bhakta devotees yajante worship shraddhayanvita with faith they api also ma me eva only Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Ejanti, they worship Avidi Purvakam in a wrong way. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Repeat. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in wrong way. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship me only. Only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Avidi Purvakam. Verse number 24. अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भक्ता च प्रभुरेव च भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च च वन्ति ते अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च वन्ति ते अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्चैवन्ति ते I surely sarva of all yajnanam sacrifices bhokta the enjoyer cha and prabhu the lord eva also cha and no not tu but ma me abhijananti they know tattvena in reality ataha therefore chaivanti fall down they. Translation by Prabhupada. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. To repeat, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. Last verse of this section, 25. Important verse. Yanti devratam devan pitrin yanti pitruvataha. भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् यान्ति देवव्रतान् देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् यान्ति देवव्रतान् देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्यां यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् Yanti, go, Devavrataha, worshippers of demigods, Devan to the demigods, Pitrin to the ancestors, Yanti, go, Pitrvrataha, worshippers of ancestors, Bhutani to the ghosts and spirits, Yanti, go, Bhutejya, worshippers of ghosts and spirits, Yanti, go, Mat, my, Yajina, devotees, Api, but, Mam, unto me. Translation by Prabhupada. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Please repeat. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. I'll try to understand this verse. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्तवृंद So we are in the first of all, today is Sri Krishna Pushyabhishek, very important festival. The spring has begun in India. A lot of flowers will come, so it is meant to be used in the service of the Lord. We'll describe a little bit of the transcendental pastimes of Golok Vrindavan in the spiritual world, so that we understand actually how in the spiritual world things happen. How does it look like? we get some feel for it. So then we can understand this first time. Then we'll cover today's topic of section 20 to 25. This is the last section of this particular within the big section. Worshippers and non-worshippers. That is the section we are in. So let us cover. Let us see the descriptions of Golok Vrindavan. Beautiful description. Pay attention. Goloka, beyond all the universes and contains all the Vaikunthas, all forms like Vasudeva, all devotees, all planets, seen by Brahma after Krishna killed Aghasur, all the gopis and various forms of Krishna who has all qualities. Chintamani exists in other places such as Vaikuntha, but the land in those places is not completely Chintamani. If it is, then liberation superior to desirable wealth does not appear in those places. If liberation exists there, then beyond liberation, excellent bhakti to Govinda and prema bhakti exists only in Goloka. What can compare to that? Desire trees exist as species in other places, but in Goloka, even the Arka tree has a desire tree nature which is remarkable. Artha, Dharma, Kama, and Moksha take on the incomparable tasty form of worship of the Lord. Though the Devas drink nectar, they still experience birth and death. In Goloka, how can I describe just the water since it is filled with streams of nectar from the lotus feet of Krishna, which are the objects of Devata's meditation, but cannot be attained by them. In Goloka, the cows, nourished by the sound of his flute, give torrents of milk from mountain like udders, forming an ocean of milk. Goloka is surrounded by moats of milk and is thus famous as Sweta Dweep, the white island in mantras and yantras. Goloka is known as Sweta Dweep. The world of Krishna can be known only by the mercy of Krishna. Those on the earth who knows about Goloka are rare. What to speak of living there? In Goloka, the Devatas and the planet deities fly in the sky in aeroplanes. The pastimes on earth also have Devatas in aeroplanes because the Goloka on earth is the same as Goloka. In Goloka, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarsana act as protective deities surrounding the place. In Goloka, there are many other praiseworthy objects. Goloka, like the Lord's form, is described as unlimited, though it is perceived to have limits like the edge of the milk ocean, which seems to have no shores in all directions. Goloka is covered above by stars, sun, and moon. In its 8 directions are colorful, earth like planets having spiritual natures. There is a pasturing ground in the center of Goloka called Vrindavana. Though this is not known to the knowers of scripture, however, I will describe little of that place. Now begins. There are tamal trees on golden earth and golden flowers on sapphire earth. There are sapphire leaves on golden trees and other combinations as well. If the creator tried to imitate even one of the leaves, he should lose his fame as a creator. The bowers are made of gems in some places. In some places, the trees are more desirable than the houses. In some places, the creepers act like dancers. In some places, the plateaus are respected as the equivalent of jewels. The rivers are resplendent with lotuses in one direction. In another direction, the land is filled with flowers. The ground shines white like camphor. Within this land are the arenas for rasa, sometimes in flower groves and sometimes on towering mountain plateaus made of gems. When the breezes do not sway the flowers and leaves, the motionless trees look like pictures. When the birds are not attracted by sweetness of Krishna's flute, they also become motion like pictures. The bees hum like the thumping of drums as with the trees play the veena. The cuckoos sing and the peacocks dance. The forest where such arts take place without effort becomes equivalent to all the places of Krishna's pastimes. Some birds imitate the songs, some birds imitate the instrumental music, some birds imitate the dancing. They give the greatest beauty to Vrindavana, but among the birds, those colored black and gold, and those who utter the names of Radha and Krishna and indicate their pastimes are closest to me. All the animals make friends with each other. Consider this to be the most amazing. Their lives are united as one. They sport about with Krishna as their soul. In the cow pastures on the edge of Goloka, the grass shines like emeralds. In those pastures, the cows are all protected by Krishna. In the peripheral forest, Krishna and Balrama heard the cows joke, embrace, perform pastimes, express love, and melt everyone's heart by their affection. In Goloka, sometimes Krishna performs amazing magical tricks in the assembly. Though the emotions of fear of enemies is not real, its semblance gives joy to the audience. In Goloka, there are white cows illuminated by the rays from gold on their horns and hooves. The land becomes flooded with the milk flowing from their pot like udders. They are worshipped affectionately with chamaras, attracted to Krishna more than to their cows. They perspire in his association. They have auspicious marks on their faces and emanate affection from their bodies. The cows are like soft butter from an ocean of yogurt. They are like babies of the moon, a transformation of nectar of Krishna's smile. The calves wander about and play in Vrindavan. Equivalent to Krishna's pastime, the cows, shining white, attractive for their restlessness in infancy and youth, eager to play with their friends. Fighting by using their new spotless horns, dazzling to the eye with their various movements, take on a special beauty. The bulls, with auspicious natures, though appearing fierce, engage in play. They are pure white, but their bodies are smeared with ash and dust. They are bound by ropes and have bells on their necks. Their tongues are like snakes. Their horns appear to be two sets of piled up dreadlocks of Shiva. Their eyes are like fire, and their foreheads are marks like fragments of rising moon. What to speak of songs and dancing to call the cows? The cohorts have natural sweetness of singing and dancing in all their speech. The devotees describe Goloka in this way. The singing in Goloka defeats honey by its sweet notes and defeats the notes of Vedic chanters. Its ornament are the emotions and rasas that arise from the thirst for Krishna. The gait of Krishna attracts the swans, though they are not present. From far off, his gait gives pain to the elephants of the directions and drives heavenly dancers insane. Ah, how can poet describe Krishna's gait even in millions of years? In Goloka, Krishna's flute acts as supreme ornament. All entities, including bees, always help the residents of Goloka to experience their love for Krishna. But among the assistants, the flute becomes their greatest friend because even from a great distance, it immediately informs them of Krishna. In Goloka, the rivers with various hues flow everywhere like liquid gems. Sometimes they become petrified by the sound of the flute, and sometimes they shine with effulgence from their jeweled waves. In Goloka, the mountains are full of happiness. Their stone limbs melt by the nectar of the flute. It gets even more interesting. The stones become like mud and become marked with Krishna's footprints. When the flute stops, the rocks become hard again, and the footprint impressions become their ornament. See that transformation by just flute sound. What's happening? Everything has consciousness. In Goloka, all the lakes give all pleasures. They are resplendent with all types of lotuses and water lilies. They are like the ocean in depth and breadth. In the water's reflection, Krishna's face shines like the moon, and his jewel earrings shine like the sun. The Yamuna remembers the Yamuna remembers Krishna by her name. What happened? Raise the hand by mistake. In Goloka, all the Yamuna remembers Krishna by her name Krishna and her color black. In Goloka, Manasa Ganga is his heart. Though the Yamuna is the daughter of the sun, which is the friend of the lotus, she not only cherishes lotuses but also is fond of blue lotuses and white water lilies. With pure nature, she protects all things as her own body. At the rivers, he heard the cows, plays in the water with his friends, rests on the bank of the river, sleeps at the base of the tree, wakes up and watches the fish playing in the water. Vrindavana decorated with various flowers, endowed with Yamuna and Manasa Ganga as its two garlands, with the jeweled Govardhana as Tilaka, marked with chakra by his footprints, taking the form of a devotee initiated into deity worship, attracts the hearts of the devotees. What a description. The situation within Goloka should be described in the center of Vrindavana forest as Gokula, filled with gopis who are the object of meditation for the fortunate. In the northeast, Yamuna satisfies the desires of all. In the southeast, there are some places dressed like a fire, shining with the desire not to accept association with outsiders with whom they had previously associated. In the southwest, the wise describe mountains with which spread festive joy. Nearby, the river named Manasaganga flows. Though there are eight famous mountains in Gokula, Govardhana, Bahustana, Saugandhika, Davala, Sona, Rankava, Ashtakuta, and Varsang. All of them take shelter of Govardhana. Sri Govardhana is seen in the southern side of the lotus of Gokula. Near the Yamuna in the northeast, the beautiful Bandira banyan tree nicely shines. First, Govardhana will be described. It is the perfection of all gems, with an auspicious body appearing to have been built by Vishwakarma, an amazing architect in the universe. Some devotees with a greed for Krishna and Balram come from far off because of the effulgence emanating from the emeralds and rubies in some of its places. The Devata women burning with pain on not seeing Radha and Krishna come to a spot where there are emeralds streaked with. You have to mute your lines. Some devotees with the greed of Krishna and Balram come from far off because of the effulgence emanating from the emeralds and rubies to some of its places. The Devata women burning with pain, not seeing Radha and Krishna, come to a spot where there are emeralds streaked with gold in order to cool their hearts by their beauty. The cows come galloping to places decorated with huge peaks of crystal, mistaking the place for a herd of cows, searching for the cows which have disappeared. Men having faith in Krishna's instruction finally find the cows. Krishna derives great pleasure from the caves, which are like temples. Groups of trees appear to be towns. The fruits are suitable for selling. On the mountain, the birds seem to be engaged in conversations as if transacting sales. On Govardhana, there are two generous gemstone seats, white and black, worthy of kings, considered to be the place of for trading goods. There are trees thick with flowers and fruit, acting like an umbrella. Some of the trees have flower clusters like chamaras. Waterfalls arising from lakes act like servants. Waterfalls whose water falling from above is ideal for showering and for purifying mouth, making the need for wells in the fields unnecessary because of their streams. On the lake on Govardhana, in a house bright with lotuses, Krishna plays with gopis who are attached to him by their affection. Sometimes he looks at the cows from a pinnacle. Sometimes he plays with friends. Sometimes he secretly rests in a jeweled cave and enacts the best of the pastime. What to say? Famous for his dark blue color, colorful with many minerals, playing attractively on his flute, wearing yellow cloth, he is worshipped by all inhabitants of the earth and protects the cows. Govardhana is same color, marked with minerals. It increases pleasures by sound made by the wind contacting the bamboo towers high in the sky, is worshipped by all mountains and nourishes the cows. The Bandira tree, though master of much less land, is praised in Vrindavana because it is decorated with pastimes of Krishna and is expert at serving him. The Bandira tree is like a king, with the forest called Bandira as his kingdom, the various trees as his citizens, with birds and animals as his ministers, with the very center as his palace, with their flat stones as his throne, and the creepers as his queens. The Bandira tree, 1 yojana high and 1 yojana broad, has fresh leaves shining intensely like emeralds. Satisfying with its great carpet, it acts as Krishna's huge house, and its many cavities serves as countless rooms. Its long branches stretch across the Yamuna and covered with flowers in some places. It appears like a couch. Its creepers of fragrant flowers are swings. Here, Krishna, desirous of pastimes, plays with groups of Sakis. Though Bandira and Govardhan are far away, desiring to serve Krishna, they act as his fixed sitting places. Having equal desire to serve him, they look at each other with raised heads. They appear to be sending messages to each other in the form of birds coming and going. Vrindavana Lakshmi is residing with these two, whose services surpasses that of all others. Conquer the other Lakshmi. Some places carry breezes laden with cool water. Cool waters of rivers where the seasons appear with their unique features even without a season, where all seasons appear within one day according to their wish, where deer and monkeys of all species make noises as they play. In these places, his friends, crest jewels among all people, frolic. In some places, sun heats up some stones till they burst into flame, making the place hot. Going nearby at his leisure, Krishna hears the crickets, which pierce the ears with their shrill sounds, defeating all other sounds and laughter. Some places have mountains where rivers run crookedly, with waterfalls flowing from the peaks, giving happiness by their showers and relieving the thirst of Chataka birds, whose cries echo in jeweled caves which Krishna enters to take rest in comfort. In some places where lotuses and tree lotuses continually bloom from the sounds of Krishna's flute, and the swans and cuckoos perform pastimes with their singing. The gopis with anuraga surround Krishna, the very form of rasa and pastimes in the bowers. In the middle of the yoga peat, most worthy of meditation, the various seasons in sequence please Krishna. In the form of happiness with complete auspiciousness from the beginning to middle and to end. In Vrindavana, the seasons having many opportunities establish Krishna and serve him with great longing, showering agreeable objects by their brilliant beauty, offering rare and plentiful flowers as gifts, and bringing various birds as their friends, for they are like civilized people who hold festivals at all times. So, in this way, you can see that beautiful description of Golok Vrindavan, how beautiful it is. You can't find this anywhere in this material world. You're not even in rest of the Vaikuntha. Only in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan. Nowhere else you can find this much variegatedness. Hmm? It's unimaginable. So it's so much variegatedness, and they can move, they can be fixed. It's all based on how Lord Krishna wanted, based on his desire. Someone wants to become a cave, someone wants to be a tree, someone wants to be a flower. So they can become whatever they want. It's the desired trees. So it's so much uh, astonishment and so much drama. So every all the genres, all the rasas are there. So this is how every day, every minute, every time it's new. So that's why we have to do our part so that we can go back to Golok Vrindavan, our eternal original place. So today being Krishna Pushyabhishek, we described how the flowers and the trees, as Bandira tree we just heard, competing with Govardhan, tried to serve, making everything as caves. So as big houses, one branch is becoming big house. Nowhere you can see. So here, so becoming rooms for Krishna to perform his pastimes. So that's why they are all competing to serve Krishna in different ways. Everyone is trying to serve. For everyone, Krishna is in the center. For the bees, the birds, every animal, everything. For everyone, Krishna is in the center there. But here, completely opposite. We are in the center. Krishna is not in the center. So that's why we have to understand everything from Bhagavad Gita first. Okay, now let's go back to Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge from Psalm 41, just the description itself. Okay, so today's section we are discussing is 20 to 25, where we are describing in the 8th chapter, we see that Mishra Bhakti, 8.14, It's been described. Ananya Cheta Satatam Yomam Smarata Nitya Tasyaham Salva Pardha Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. So I'm easy to obtain for who? One who is without any deviation thinking of me. Ananya means without any deviation, no other motive, karma or yoga, jnana, completely just with loving devotion. One who wants to please Krishna and Guru. And then for them, then Lord is very easy to obtain. So how one can obtain? By what process? What he should do? And Krishna gives examples. And he gives also the examples of those who are not on that level, those who are performing, um, worshipping the universe as God. And he's also giving an example of those who are worshipping demigods, thinking that they are the supreme. And he's also giving the some people are worshipping anybody as God. So different ways Krishna is somebody is atheist. All these Krishna is giving in this most confidential knowledge so that we understand. And what will be the result of those who's not worshipping but who's worshipping something else? So, and where they will go. All these details are being described. So let's go through that. So in the ninth chapter, we see that Krishna wants everybody to get to this pure devotion. So that's why Lord Krishna is describing this most confidential knowledge. So 1 to 3 is hearing about Krishna, which describes qualifications and disqualifications. One who can attain this bhakti, pure bhakti, or one who will not attain because of disqualification. One who doesn't have faith, one who is enviousness, so then he cannot obtain. So then 4 to 10, inconceivable powers of Supreme Lord. 11 to 25, worshippers and non-worshippers. And 26 to 34 is glories of devotion service to Krishna and favoritism to devotees and how all devotees can be purified. Now in today's section we are describing in 11 to 25 there are Krishna started explaining about one who doesn't have faith. Because before the section Krishna explained everywhere I am pervaded, then people have doubts. And those who doesn't have faith, what will happen? So happen. So that's what Krishna is describing them. Their everything will be baffled. Their desires to attain some enjoyment, that will be baffled. Their knowledge, trying to get some knowledge, that will be baffled. They are trying to attain some perfection, the mystic from that will be baffled. So mogasa moga karmano moga jnana vichetsa Rakshasi Masurim Chaiva Mohinim Srita. Because of taking shelter of this, so not taking shelter of Krishna but taking all others, then automatically they will have to enter the lower species of life because of that. So that's what Krishna explained in the first section. Those who are non-worshippers, they don't worship Krishna. So they are kind of atheists. They don't have, and we explained about the Salva in the war itself. He fought against Krishna. He didn't believe Krishna is Supreme Lord. So what to speak of in Kali Yuga? When Krishna himself is there, there are people who didn't agree, didn't believe that he is the Supreme Lord. So that's how the conditioned soul is. And then Krishna started explaining about 13 to 14. 11 to 12 he explained about Ekatvena, or one with the Lord, or Duratma, one who doesn't accept Krishna as the Lord. And then he started explaining about the Mahatmas, those who are pure devotees, Mahajanas, their quality. Krishna started explaining. Mahatmanas to Mahampa, they take shelter of Krishna, or is pure devotees. Daivi Prakriti, they don't take shelter of material energy. They take shelter of the internal energy. They don't take shelter of external energy, but internal energy. And their quality is, what is the characteristic? They are always glorifying the Supreme Lord. Satatam kirtayanto mam ye jana paripasde tesham nityavayuktanam yogakshem vahami. They are always constant 24 by 7. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Always chanting they are the Mahatmas. That's how the Mahatmas are defined. It's not that by um, some other motives. Mahatmas means completely pure. They are always chanting the glories of the Lord, hearing, engaging in the service of the Lord. That's what Mahatma means. So that is the actual characteristic. Mm. So then we see that then Krishna started explaining about, but there are other people. Those who are not atheists, but they are not also the pure devotees. Who are these? Then in the 15th verse, Krishna started explaining, which is the continuation today's section. Jnana yajnena chapi anye ekatvena pratatvena bahudha visvatomukam. Ekatvena means one with the Lord. I am God, you are God. In that way. So, and then pratatvena. Pratatvena means demigod worshippers. So anybody, even the demigods also like supreme. It's the result will be the same. So that's how their thinking is. So they are coming under that pratatvena. And then Bahuda Visvatomukam. Some others worship universal form of the Lord, impersonal worship. So they are these three categories. Or in another way, Sanskrit terms used is Ekatvena is called Ahangropasana. That means we can become God. Right now we are not God, but we will become God when we become purified. That is Ahangropasana. Then Pratika Upasana, that means worshipping so many pantheism, so many gods. That is Ahangropasana. Then Viswarupa Upasana. This whole universal form as Viswarup, as Lord Krishna showed universal form to Arjuna, to Mother Yashoda. So, different places to Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown, or on the when Lord Krishna went as a messenger to Arjuna, Lord showed it to him. And then one more person, Lord showed. So the 4 times or 5 times this past time has happened, showing universal form. Different variations are there. Each one is not same, exact same. It has different flavors and variations in the exhibition of that universal form. So in this way, Krishna started explaining the 15th, and then the 16 to 19, the continuation of how those what that universal form worship means. Then he explained in those 4 verses last week we covered. Now today's section is covering especially the demigod worship. Those who then what will happen to them? What are some of the characteristics? The first verse is explaining is about this 20th verse, where it is describing how they attain, they engage in pious activities. Majority of the people worship they are demigods. They think they are worshipping the one God. So they are worshipping the same. The result will be the same. They can worship any God, it will result will be the same. In that way they think and they worship. The first verse, Traividyamam somapapota papa igneristva swargatim prarthayante te punyam asatya surendra lokam asnanti divideva bhogan. So what will happen is they will, because of their worshipping demigod, they attain some punya. Te punya asadya surendra lokam. With that punya, the pious spirit, where they will go? They will go to the heavenly planets, enjoy the godly delight. Divideva bhogan. They will enjoy. And so, and then what will happen? So, once they, the next verse, in this verse, Krishna is saying basically, because they are seeking enjoyment in this life, and in the next life also they want to go to heavenly planets. Many people only know hell and heaven. They have no idea of what is spiritual world, what is material world. They think hell and heaven is also not permanent. Heavenly planet, above heavenly planet, there is a Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Brahmaloka, above Swargaloka. Heaven is not the highest, even in the material world. Still, it is temporary. So, they drink so much juice there, they enjoy, and then again they take birth on this once their credits are over. So, why Krishna is describing? Because Krishna has described in the previous Mahatma, having described the qualities of the devotees. So, in order to further give understanding to everyone that how there are those who are averse to worshipping the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, they are averse to that, but they worship all his parts. But they don't know that. They don't know that who are these demigods and what characters do they have. Are they permanent? Are they also temporary? How they are fulfilling the desires? Are they independent? Are they dependent? That they don't know. But they know that they think that they're all, the result will be the same. They can worship any. God, and the result will be the same in that way. And then that's why the result will be they go to the heavenly planets and enjoy. And then what will be the end result? That Krishna is speaking in the next verse. So in this verse, basically, Acharya has explained in the 20th verse, not knowing that Indra and other devatas are actually my forms and consequently worship me indirectly through worshipping of these forms and drink the remnants of sacrifice, and then thus attain punya. Now, continuation, what will happen in the 21 verse, it has been described. Etam bhuktva, after enjoying Swarga lokam visalam, then what will happen? Kshine punye martya lokam visanti. As soon as the heavenly enjoyment, it is mentioned, their one day is our 6 months. 6 months of our time is one day for them in demigod, in heavenly planets. And one night is again same. So how long they live? Almost 1200 or 12,000 years. Imagine, it's so long. So that is their duration. But still it is not permanent. Uh, we may have seen or heard in Doordarshan or internet or watch. It says they become immortal after drinking the Amrut. No, that is not really immortal. They are not getting the spiritual body and entering into Vaikuntha. No, that is still they are just becoming body, becoming strong. They are extending their life in this material world only. They can't go to the spiritual world. It is still temporary only. So that's it. Here clearly, 21st verse is clearly. Those who are worshipping demigod, they go to the higher planet, and then what will be the end result? Kshine punye matya lokam visanti. And then further, evam trayi dharmam anuprapanna gata gatam kama kama labante. Gata gatam means going, coming back. And Prabhupada gives example of Ferris wheel. We all went on the Six Flags and different things. What Ferris will do? You keep on. Sometimes you are up, sometimes you are down. Same way, they are going up. When they engage in pious activities, they go to the higher planet. As soon as that is finished, come down. Again, you may come to this human life and they perform again pious deeds, then you may go up, then again down. So in this way, we are going in this cycle, like a Ferris wheel, giant wheel, or whatever you may call. So that's what is happening. Gata agatam, taking birth, leaving this body, again entering there, and then again finishing up, coming down. So this cycle is going on, this chakra. So that's why we have to understand. So they are attaining birth as Brahmanas and others on this earth according to the process mentioned in the Panchagni Vidya, 5 fires. Again, performing the duties enjoined in the three Vedas, their desires for sense objects, craving the enjoyment of Swarga, Kama Kama, Labante, obtain the repeated births in this world. That's why Gata Agatam is used. Going, coming, going, coming. So repeated birth, death is going on. Now Krishna is giving again one verse describing, but what will happen? These two verses, 20 and 21st verse, Krishna is describing those who are averse to worshipping the Supreme Lord, but they worship indirectly all this demigod. Further is going to elaborate, but in between again, Krishna is describing so that we understand. But the Ananya Bhaktas, how Lord will reciprocate is describing so that we understand. Oh, he may not, he may be reciprocating in this way to the demigod. Then Arjuna may have a question: how will he reciprocate? What will be the result? How will he reciprocate to the devotees who are fully focused in worshipping without any other motives? That's why he's using this word clearly. Very, very important verse. And wonderful pastime is also there. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityaviuktanam yogakshemam vahami. So where it is Ananya means no other motives, pure devotion. Chintayanto mam, there is no other thought process other than pleasing Krishna. Ye jana paripaste. So there are, when the previous verse Trividya means three. What are the three? Three Vedas, Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and also means there is a Karma Kanda which are the Jnana Kanda and Upasana Kanda. Those three in these three Vedas, four Vedas describe three processes. Karma Kanda, Gnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. So Karma Kanda means this fruitive activity they want to enjoy, heavenly planet as we described. The Jnana Kanda, they want to merge into Brahman effluence. And then the Upasana Kanda also has two of them. Most of them follow this demigod worship. That is also Upasana. But in the same Upasana Kanda, there is also description about worshipping the Supreme Lord, attaining the highest perfection of above, beyond the liberation, Dharma, Artha, Kama, beyond that is Pancham Purushartha, which is attaining Krishna Prema. Going back to the place where we just read the beautiful pastime, so much variegatedness, so intense happiness, intense bliss every day. So that's what we will get if we perform this. So now let's see what Krishna is saying here. ये जना परिभाषे तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. Last line is very important. In that way, Nitya, every day someone is performing like this with loving devotion. They are worshipping Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. So, as per Lord Krishna in this case, is saying, what will happen? What will be the result? Yoga Kshemam Vahamiham. I personally, Yoga Kshemam. Acharyas give different commentary on this. Yoga and Kshemam. What does it mean? So, he is describing his own devotees. In this case, his own pure devotees. I personally take responsibility to for bringing and preserving food and other necessities for the people who take me alone as the goal. No one else. They think Krishna is their ultimate goal. They constantly maintain. So that's why Krishna is saying, I carry. It's not like I do. No, personally, Lord Krishna is mentioning, I carry the burden of their maintenance. Just like the husband in the family, husband may take alone, will take the burden of supporting his family like that. Lord Krishna is personally, I alone bear the responsibility for their attaining me and preventing their separation. That's why yoga means attaining me and preventing their separation is kshemam, is protecting so that they are not separated from him. They are always associated with him. I alone take the responsibility for their attaining me. Devatas such as sun god or other gods cannot do this. So that's why clearly is explaining this. My Ananya devotee has no karma due to the lack of desire. They don't have any fruitive desire like previously mentioned in the previous verses 20 and 21. His happiness is given by me. Though I am indifferent to all, he is equal to all, but I have great affection for my devotee. This is the cause. One should also not say that in giving the burden of their maintenance to their worshipful Lord. Actually, the devotees show love. In fact, they do not give to me the burden. Rather, I, by my own will, accept it. It also be understood that I am not bearing it as a duty in the manner that I create and maintain the universe by my will alone. Rather, being attached to my devotees, I take the greatest pleasure in taking care of their needs, like carrying the weight of one's lover. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So that's why you see that. Now there is a beautiful pastime happened in Jagannath Puri. There is Arjuna Acharya. There is a beautiful pastime of Arjuna Acharya. Once there was a poor Brahmana named Arjuna Acharya or Arjuna Mishra. He is the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. So every morning after performing his bhajan, he was very poor, him and his wife, his Grihastha. And he used to spend 2 hours writing a commentary on Bhagavad Gita and then went out, going out to beg alms. Then one day, so he came to this verse, 9.22. Ananyas chantayanto mam e jana paripas tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshem vahamyam. He got it out. So, otherwise, whatever he used to beg, and he would give food to cook to his wife, and then offer to Lord Sri Gopinath, deity, and they used to offer and then take that Mahaprasad. That's all. Whatever comes, if nothing comes, they fast. So that's how they were maintaining themselves. So one day, so they didn't even have proper clothing. So they have only one dhoti, and then to go out. So if whoever needs to go out, wife or husband needs to go out, only one dhoti, and they have only torn clothes. So somehow that's how they are maintaining, very poor. So then one day, a Brahmana was going for begging. Wore that dhoti, go for alms. His wife covered with her body with some torn cloth, and when he returned, she put on that same dhoti to go outside to perform other household duties. So then the Then one day he was coming to this verse, he got it out. How can he hear Lord says that I personally carry? It may not be true. Why will Lord do this? So maybe something else. He got it out. He then marked with red lines 3 times. Then he went out for begging. So he was a little bit perplexed. He couldn't understand. He was unable to resolve why it says the Supreme Person Swayam Bhagavan is the only Master of the whole universe. Will he personally carry the yoga kshemam or see the necessities of the maintenance of those who are exclusively engaged in worshipping him? No, this cannot be true. If this were so, then why is my situation as it is? I am completely dependent on him. With the exclusive devotion, I have offered everything at his lotus feet. Then why then do I have to undergo this misery of poverty? In this way, I was thinking, and they went out to beg. So he tried to resolve this difficulty by using his own intelligence. So he became more and more perplexed. Anyway, he stopped writing commentary and then he marked the lines there and he went out. So then Lord wants to show his compassion. So there it is mentioned that saw this doubt had appeared in the mind of his devotee regarding his words. Taking the form of an extremely beautiful, tender, dark complexioned boy, he filled 2 baskets with ample rice, dal, vegetables, and ghee, and so on, putting them on either ends of the bamboo stick. He personally carried them on his shoulders to the house of this Brahmana. The door was locked from inside because his wife is there inside because she doesn't have proper clothing. He knocked and then loudly called, "Oh mother, oh mother!" But the poor Brahmani was only wearing a torn cloth, so how could she come out? Out of shyness, she sat quietly, but the loud knocking and calling out continued. Finding no other alternative, she silently came, keeping her head lowered and opened the door. Carrying that weight, the boy entered the courtyard and placed his load on the floor and stood to one side. Out of shame, the Brahmani lowered her head and re-entered the house. Sri Bhagwan, in the guise of that boy, spoke to her as follows. Mother Pandita ji has sent these supplies. Please take them inside. Until now, the Brahmani had been standing with her face lowered. Upon hearing the sweet words of the boy, she looked up and saw in the courtyard 2 big baskets filled with foodstuffs. She had never seen so many vegetables and food grains. Being repeatedly requested by the boy to take them, she carried them to the inner part of the house. While doing so, she constantly gazed upon his beautiful face and became completely satisfied how beautiful his face is. How can such a dark complexioned person have such a transcendental beauty? She had never seen, imagined such beauty. Awestruck, she stood transfixed. Her eyes then noticed that on the boy's chest were there 3 bleeding slash marks, as if someone had cut it with a sharp weapon. Is her heart disturbed? She cried, "Oh son, what merciless person has wounded your chest?" Alas, alas, even a stone hearted person would melt at the thought of cutting such a soft limbs. Sri Krishna, in the guise of the boy, said, "Mother, while bringing you these foodstuffs, I was delayed. So your husband himself made these cuts on my chest." Her eyes full of tears, the Brahmani cried, "What, he did this? Just let him come home, and I will ask him how he could have been so cruel. My son, do not feel distressed. Stay for some time. I will prepare this food, and you also can accept the prasad of Thakurji, the deity." Seating the boy in the courtyard, the Brahmani went to the kitchen and started to prepare for an offering. Krishna then thought, the purpose for which I personally carried these foodstuffs has been fulfilled. Now, when the Brahmana returned to his house, he will immediately discover the authenticity of my words, and he will never doubt them again. In this way, having made the arrangement to dispel the doubts of his devotee, Krishna disappeared. That day, despite the great effort, the Brahmana was unable to collect any alms. Losing all hope, he returned home, thinking that his inability to collect anything was the will of Thakurji. He knocked on the door and his wife opened it. When he saw that she was busy cooking, he inquired, "How is it that you are cooking when I received no alms today? What is there to cook? Why do you ask like this? Some time back you sent so many foodstuffs in the hands of that boy that it will take both of us 6 months to finish them. So why are you asking me what will you cook?" She was a little surprised. "And your heart is like stone. This I did not know before. That boy had 3 red gashes on his chest that looked on the point of bleeding. How could you slash the tender boy of that boy? Have you have no mercy?" The Brahmana, completely amazed, asked her to explain. "I did not send anything home, nor did I beat a boy. I do not understand what you are talking about." After hearing the statements of her husband, she showed him the rice, dal, flour, and other things. But when she entered the courtyard to show him the boy and his skirts, the boy was not there. She began to search for him everywhere. Where had he gone? The outside gate was closed as before. They both looked at each other in surprise. Arjuna Acharya, the Brahmana, now began to understand the whole situation, and tears flowed continuously from his eyes. After washing his hands and feet, he entered the deity room, and to completely dispel his doubt, he opened his Bhagavad Gita. That morning he had made three slash marks with red ink on the line Nityavi Yuktanam Yogakshema Vahamyam. But now these three marks were gone. Overwhelmed with happiness, he came out of the deity room crying, My dear, mm, Lord, my dear, you are so fortunate. Today I have directly seen Sri Gopinath. He's talking to his wife. All these foodstuffs were brought personally by him. How could I possibly have brought so much stock? This morning, while writing my commentary on Bhagavad Gita, I doubted the statements of Bhagavan and slashed those words with three lines of red ink. That is why the tender chest of our worshipful Gopinath was bearing three red gashes. He is supremely compassionate. He has taken so much trouble to prove the authenticity of his statement and to remove the doubts of an atheist like me. His throat choked up and he was unable to speak. Overwhelmed with love, he called out, Gopinath, hey, Gopinath, and fell to the ground. Standing in the front of Sri Gopinath, his eyes of his wife were struck dumb, filled with tears. After some time, the Brahmana returned to the consciousness, and after taking his bath, he performed his daily duties. Offered his preparation to Gopinath, and his wife had prepared with great love. They both accepted his remnants and continued writing like his Bhagavad Gita commented daily, and his life became full of prema. Mm. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes Krishna is saying, You should not think that these three type of upasakas, worshippers who have fruitive desires, attains happiness that my bhaktas suffer. My bhaktas think of me without deviation. For the maintenance of their body, they accept anything that is favorable for their bhakti to me, and they reject all that is unfavorable. In this way, they are nityabhyukta, are ever united with me through devotion, free from selfish desire. They offer everything to me only. I alone provide all their wealth and any of their other requirements, and thus I maintain them. From an external point of view, materially motivated Pratik Upasakas and my devotees who only accept that which is favorable for service to me may appear to be similar, as both appear to be enjoying the objects of this world. However, there is a big difference between the two. I see to the yoga, the necessities, and the kshema maintenance of my devotees, even if they have no material desire. The special benefit my devotee receives is that by my mercy they enjoy all sense objects in a dispassionate manner, and finally they attain eternal bliss. However, the Pratik Upasakas again return to the field of karma. After enjoying sense pleasure, they do not attain eternal bliss. I am indifferent to all mundane occurrences, but out of affection for my devotees, I feel delight in helping them in every respect. In my doing so, there is no offense at all on the part of my devotees because they do not pray to me for anything except my favor. I personally supply their requirements. Now you understand why we should worship the Lord with loving devotion with whatever we got. This is why. This is a direct example of Arjuna Acharya. How getting the real mercy of the Lord. So that's why one must worship the Lord. So with a pure devotion. So and don't have any doubts. Don't keep any doubts. So that is the instruction from this verse 22. Let us continue on. Further, now Krishna speaks what happens to those demigods exactly. So it's been described further in 23 to 25. येऽपि अन्यदेवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विता ते अपि माम एव कौन्ते यजन्ते avidhi पूर्वकम्. Where is mentioning Anya Devata Bhakta, those who are worshipping the other other gods like sun god, or Indra. What happens? Because you may question, those who worship the Indra and Devatas are also actually worshipping you. Why do they return to samsara? Because you mentioned that they will again come to this planet again, gata, coming, going. Why? That's why Krishna is speaking here. Those who being fully devoted to Indra, why does it say internet connection is unstable? Those who being fully devoted to Indra and others alone, endowed with firm faith, that is Shraddhayanvita, that the particular Devata will bestow benedictions. Worship those Devatas with sacrifice. It is true. that they are actually worshipping me. But they worship without the proper rules. That's why avidhi purakam. Vidhi means rules. Avidhi means without having proper rules. And Lord Krishna will give example in the next verse, which will allow them to attain me. But since they are not following the rules, then they can't extinguish their birth, death, old age, this cycle. They have to go through this cycle because they are not following the proper rules. So, what are those? Krishna is explaining in the next verse. And Prabhupada gives also the example is just like the officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, but you can't bribe. So government is there. Government has a tax department, irrigation department, and so many different departments. By serving the government, by following the government means you pay the bills in time and all these bills, then you're fine. But if you try to, you want to bribe them, you want to evade the taxes, or you want to do this and that illegal way, so it is like that. Avidi Purokam. You are not following the rules. You are violating the rules. That's what Prabhupada is giving that example. Officers and directors are engaged representatives of government to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here is Avidi Purokam. Prabhupada further gives example. Just like in your body you have to take special care of your stomach, the digesting machine of your food stuff. If your digestion is all right, then the energy will be supplied equal to the all parts of the body. So that is necessary. But that at the same time, it is not prohibited that you should not take care of the hand, which is part of your body. That's all right. Similarly, to worship demigods may be accepted. If people know that these like hands are compared to like, the demigods in this case. Demigods are authorized agents of Supreme Lord. There is acceptance of Supreme Lord. But those who do not accept the Supreme Lord and misunderstand that this particular type of demigod is all in all, they are doing nonsense. They are placing so many competitors of the Supreme Lord. That is avidhi porokam. That is illegal. Nobody can be competitor of the Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is known as Asam Murdva. Nobody is greater, nobody is equal. Nobody is equal or greater than the Supreme Lord. So that's why Lord Krishna is directly saying here, Vidhi Purokam. They are not following the rules. They are bribing actually. And then further Krishna is mentioning the next verse. Because actually who is giving? They think that demigods, Indra, Chandra, Varuna are permanent. No, they are not permanent. And they are not directly able to give anything. Actually, as super soul, as Supreme Lord has to give, has to approve before they can even anything, give anything to anybody who are worshipping them, who are asking them some benedictions. But people do not know. So that's why Krishna is giving that answer also. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha paura evacha. When he says not following rules, why? In this verse, Krishna is giving that why is it so? Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhu evacha natu mam abhijananti tatvena tastu chayavantate. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. That means if you are doing any yajna, whatever, even if it's a demigod trying to please, still the Lord Vishnu is the primary Ignapati, and then all other demigods get their share. So that's why Krishna is saying, I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. So that's why the proper rules. They don't know that who is the actual real Ignapati, who is the master. Just like you have a father and your children, and then you say that you're coming, and then you're putting the children as a master and father as a servant, which is completely unacceptable, right? So yes, by pleasing the understanding that father and then children, their relation, and then by pleasing them, then Lord, Supreme Lord also please understanding their position. It's fine. It has a proper understanding, just like the hand taking care of the hand. Nobody said don't take care of the hand, but understanding the position. Stomach is the one who has to be taken care properly. Food has to go in, then all. Otherwise, we're not going to get the energy. So that's where it has to go. The center should be Krishna. Center should be the stomach. We take care of the hand, but we don't put the food in the stomach. Then what will happen? The hand will also suffer. So that's how it is. Avidi Porokam, that's what it means. And then further, Krishna is elaborating. Then ultimately, where they will go, these demigod worshippers, what will be the result? What will be the destination? Krishna is describing that in the next verse. And what is the defect of worshipping demigods? Yanti devavratan devan, pitrin yanti pitruvratan, bhutani yanti bhutedya, yanti madhya jinopimam. Because in the first verse he is describing also those who are demons, atheists, those who doesn't have faith. That also is giving that answer here. Yanti devavratan devan. Those who worship demigod, where they will go? They will take birth among the demigod. Pitrunyanth, those who worship forefathers, ancestors, Pitris, where they will go? They will go to the Pitri planet, which is there almost like below Garbhodaka ocean or above that Patal, Rasatal, lower planets. Parallel to that, this planet is there. Pitri planet and Yama, hellish planet. Both are side by side around that place. So that's where they will go, Pitris. Then Bhutani Anti Bhuteja, but there are those who does black magic and all. So they those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those are there in the above us. We are in the Bhuloka, and then there's the Boar Loka, Swargaloka. So between Bhu and Boar, there is a outer space. Is all the sun, moon at a certain distance. Distance is being given canto 5. That Bhur Loka above us, that's where this ghosts, pretas, pisachas are there, and also ekshas, rakshasas. It's some distance. All these entities are there above us because both are pretas, pisachas. They don't have a gross body because they are abruptly given their body. They are ended their life, so they got those bodies. But then again, after some time, they get the gross body again after some time. So then that's when they move from that Boar Loka again to the Bhu Loka again after some time. And so that's why they are there in the Boar Loka. So that's what here Krishna. But those who are worshipping me, Yanti Madhya Jinopima, they will attain me. Those who worship me will live with me. So Krishna is clearly indicating here is one who is worshipping Lord, where they will go. One who is worshipping demigod, what will be the result? Clearly, without any ambiguity, Krishna is clearly saying. But this is the true rule. So the devotees of the particular devatas will attain only their particular devatas. And because devatas are destructible, how can the worshippers of devatas become indestructible? Because you're asking question, why will they not? Why will they again and again go back to the samsara bhaja? Because devatas are also in that category. They again have to take so, but unless including Lord Brahma, as I explained before classes. Lord Brahma also has a different condition. If he has acted on a pure devotional platform, perfected his life, then he will go back. But if he has a difference of opinion, Veda Drushti, then he again come back. If he has operated on the Karma Kanda, Vichara section, then he will come back, not even become Brahma. So all these are there described in Prabhupada purports only. So in Srimad Bhagavatam. So what are the different variations where they will generally majority of the cases those who are on the Brahma planet, Satya Loka, all the way topmost where Lord Brahma lives, they go back to once they end of the life, 100 years of Brahma's life, which is 3 point some trillion years. They go back to the Vaikuntha Loka. But again, this thing is their rule that if they don't follow the general prescription, they don't actually come to the path of perfection at the time of giving of the body. Then again they have to take. So same as everybody else, the rule is same applies whether higher or lower doesn't matter. So that's why the this process must be understood thoroughly. So that is the today's section. Anyone has any questions? I am unmuting. So I think Dinesh Prabhu's mother. Yes, Mataji, you have a question? You can ask now. Or by mistake you might have done it. Anyone has any questions on this verse, today's section or the previous? You can ask. No one has any question? Everybody understood? Hare Krishna. Everybody understood? No questions?
Can we keep our ancestors' pictures or fathers or parents' pictures who passed away in the puja room?
There is a way to follow it. Ideally, not it. It can be next, but not in the altar. Actually, ideally, it shouldn't be on the altar. Altar should be the main principal room, deity room, specifically the center of the area, the main altar, should have only the deities. Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna should be there in the center or in the higher position. And then you can, if you have Lord Shiva, then you can have one step down. And then you have spiritual master, then one step down, like that. We should put it, not at the same level. Like, think about a master and a disciple, master and a servant. You can't put servant and master at the same place. That's
I'm talking about the parents. Like if
yeah, same
you're
way, same way. Yeah, the parents also the anything from father or grandfather, we can't put them in the same. We can't put them in the same. You can hang in your room, other rooms, but not in the yeah. You can put it on the side or something, but not in the altar area. Not in the altar. It's not
okay,
supposed to be kept. But you can
okay,
put in other rooms. That's fine, no problem. But not in that specific altar area. Deity room is meant to be for the service of the Lord. So everything should be kept in that way. One pointed focus should be there. That's why altar cannot be. I see many times many people have so many pictures. You have demigod pictures everywhere, all over the place. There is no proper structure. When you go to the altar, you need to have proper focus, one pointed focus. Shastra is clearly described. Even to the deity, you may have so many deities. Even when you go to, you need to focus on one deity because our mind is already sensual. It has to be focused on one particular deity. So that we are fixed. We are fixed. That's why the altar also center deity should be one. We can't have altogether so many deities in one place. So that's why there's a way to keep everything. You have Guru's picture, you have Guru Paramparas, and then you have, if you have Lord Jagannath Baldev Sodamarani, then you can have Radha Krishna, then you can put them in the center as a top, or you can put all on the same level Jagannath Baldev Sudamarani, Radha Krishna, and Sri Gaurnathai. But ideal Radha Krishna should be in the center if you have like that. But if you have demigod, then one level down you should have. But the center should be always Vishnu Tattva. So Lord Krishna, if we have Radha Krishna deity. And so Krishna should be worshipped along with the cow or along with Srimati Radharani. And so or Tulsi Maharani, Tadiya should be there. Krishna shouldn't be alone. And so all these are the some of the basic principles. That's how the altar should be there. Otherwise, it's just not a proper practice. So then it won't really be helpful to practice or process of bhakti otherwise. So keep it simple and following the injunctions of the Shastra. Then we'll be able to get some result. Otherwise, it's not really going to help us in transforming our life, perfecting our life if you don't follow. Yes, Shastra Vidim Vustrijya Vartate Kam Karma Siddham Navapnodana Sukam Param Gatim. One who gives up the injunctions of Shastra, so then you can't follow. As per the deity worship is Pancharatri Vidhi, which is much more stricter. Pancharatri Vidhi means you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the rules. श्रुति स्मृति पुराणादि पांचरात्रि की विधि बिना ऐकांति की भक्ति उत्पात कल्पते इट rather creates a chaos disturbance. So one who doesn't follow Shruti and Smruti for Pancharatri Vidhi. And so the deity worship comes under Pancharatri Vidhi. That's why it requires to follow rules and regulations. At home, it is much easier. You don't need to be strict because they are not installed deities. So that's why it is not we don't need to follow strictness, but at the same time, we should at least understand the basic things, where to keep, how to keep, and things should be kept properly clean. Nothing should be on the ground. No Bhagavad Gita should be on the ground. No Kartal should be on the ground. No harmony should be on the ground. At least there should be a blanket. At least there should be a blanket. We can't put anything on the ground. Any of the deities or deities paraphernalia shouldn't be on the ground. And that's not a proper practice. So that's not the proper understanding. So yeah, that's ideally the altar also should be above our waist. So ideally, some places, sometimes time, place, circumstance, we may not be able to do that, but ideally, so it should be above our waist. So yeah, that is the prescription given in the Shastra. Any other questions? Anyone else?
Thank you, Prabhuji.